Oh, very nice. Right. You grew up, before we get into your life and everything you've done, you grew up in the farm country of California?
I did, that's true, yes. I grew up on a beef ranch in Central California.
Inland Empire, so you know the value of hard work,
Oh,
teamwork.
Absolutely,
And
yes.
stuff. And stuff. And
I don't know the value of hard work.
I know that. And women doing their own thing. Okay, first, I've always been more interested from an evolutionary standpoint. What about, you have a new book, Stop the Drama,
Yep.
a guide for female teams. And how do you work with teams? What are the problems they have, and how do you work with them to try to get them to work as one heartbeat? As Bear Bryant used to say.
Well, the first thing I do is I sit with them and figure out what is the problem. And usually, especially with female teams, it revolves around gossip and backstabbing and catty behavior and that kind of nastiness.
I qualify as a female then, and Kirk could say, but anyway. Anyway. Oh, yes, go on, sorry.
So, and once I learn what's going on with them and what the problem is, then we can have a discussion about how do we fix it, how do we solve it, and get them to engage in what I call productive conflict. And that means dealing with the problem in a way that reaches resolution, rather than just going on and on and on and firestorming about it.
And what you do is actually common sense. You actually address the problem. It's not girls being girls.
Right, exactly. And that's one of the things that really, really frustrates me, is that so often teams will say, oh, well, girls are just mean. And that's not the case. Girls are not just mean. They're just not taught anything better.
You feel that there's an evolutionary and societal basis for this behavior?
Right, that's absolutely true. I do believe in that. And what I think is that women have an evolutionary reason why they should engage in gossip and backstabbing, and we don't teach them anything better. And so that they have the DNA is one thing, and then they have their communication fingerprint, which is the learned behavior. There's nothing better. And reality TV, as you're aware, makes it really bad.
Well, this theory you were telling me earlier about, in the days of,
Cavemen.
prehistoric time, that the women, the guys would go out and hunt.
Right.
And the women would be, at the home base, actually being more cooperative with each other. And to attain power, they had to do it in more subtle ways than the he-men, cavemen.
Right, exactly. So what happens is that women have a reason they have to work together, obviously, because they can't do everything they need to do alone. They have to work together. And so there's no reason for them to engage in hurting one another like men do. Men have a very much winner-loser mentality. He who wins gets his way. He who loses shuts up. Whereas with women, if I hurt another woman in the caveman mentality, I just have someone else to take care of. That doesn't accomplish anything. But if I can convince the group that she's bad and push her out.
It's like banish.
Right.
Banishing.
Ostracize her.
Right.
Then more of her resources will come to me.
So you feel like there's almost a natural snipiness going on here.
Right, exactly. And unfortunately, we don't teach anything better than that now.
And in sports teams, it might be exacerbated.
Right, and that's why I wrote the book for female teams, because I really do feel like we are missing the opportunity with women who are on sports teams. We have this great opportunity to teach them teamwork and effective communication and productive conflict, and we don't use it.
But with the evolution of Title IX, I mean, girls have to work together because there's so many sports teams. And
oh, they don't have to, no. They can be horrible
they're
together.
They're going to fail. They will fail.
Yes.
Soccer teams.
Just because you have a team doesn't mean you don't spell it with an I.
I guess I'm thinking, like, you think they would want to win, though, and that would subordinate, push down everything.
That's what, when I work with them, that's what I explain to them, is that if they want to win, if they want to be successful, they need to learn to engage in productive conflict. And unfortunately, they need to be reminded of that because they don't know how to do it. They're
and
not
the communication has to keep open. The season evolves. Roles on the team evolve.
Coaches have to do it.
Coaches have to do it.
You're trying to get them to work past what you feel is some natural psychology.
Right, exactly. I'm trying to give them other skills, to give them the skills that are not being taught, and that I wish someone had given me before I started working in the corporate world. Because I entered the corporate world without the ability to engage in productive conflict.
No, but you say when you enter the corporate world, how do you deal with when you don't have productive communication? Well, you said try to make other friends, or just say why. How would you act when someone says something in a gutter snipe way? What should your response be?
Well, the first thing you need to do is ask the person, what is it they really need? What are they looking for?
What are they looking for?
Because if you don't know what they need, you certainly can't give it to them. So that's the first thing I recommend to people. And never try to make up why. As adults, we are really bad about making up why someone does something. But instead ask. Toddlers know you can't tell why without asking. How many times do they ask it?
Right. And they know that no one's told them to know, and no one told them not to ask. They just naturally ask.
Right.
Right.
You've done graduate work on these kinds of subjects.
Right. My doctoral dissertation is based on this information and actually going into a team and implementing this stuff, testing them before, testing them after, and getting their opinion about, did it help? Was it helpful?
Yeah, the
Would you use
empirical
it?
evidence is overwhelming if you go to our website. And you also have championperformance.com. What's that geared to? More corporate?
Right. The website is champperformance.com. It's for my business, Champion Performance Development. And that is geared toward the corporate side of things, which is what comes out of your mouth affects your bottom line, and how do you engage in productive conflict and effective communication and get the most from your potential in the corporate world.
So coaches for any kind of a woman's team might be interested in your point of view here.
Right. I am asked to speak across the nation by coaches, athletic directors, corporate events. I do a lot of public speaking on this subject.
That's what I like, you know.
Do you think that the top women's coaches, Pat Summitt, Jean Arrieta, they're onto this?
You know what, that's the interesting thing? No, the top coaches aren't, because they've been able to succeed.
It's about recruiting.
They've been able to succeed the way that they do it, which may or may not be creating the healthiest women to arrive
Right.
in the corporate world.
But they've done
and
it
that's my
their way.
concern.
But Rutgers has a top flight program, and maybe there's some female coach out there that wants to take this under advisement.
I would love it if a top flight coach would take it under advisement. And I
Right,
happen to
right.
know that Rutgers' team would be very more successful if they had these kind of skills.
Oh, really? Vivian Stringer?
They-
She's very draconian.
That team does struggle with
Yeah,
communication.
because they had great
issues.
recruiting and did not put it together on the court at all. Yeah, that's the thing. I guess coaches like that, though, they do it their way. So I don't think the ears are very much open.
Well, and if their way is working, they have no motivation to change it.
What
It's
is the motivation? Right.
The coaches that are struggling, or teams that are struggling, are the ones that have motivation
So you're
to
geared more
change.
for like the high schools and stuff like that, because they might be more open to your message.
Actually, high schools and colleges both.
Oh, really?
Yeah, definitely.
Some of your central point of view here, it's slightly politically incorrect.
Say more.
Well, in that, what you're saying that there is all this sniping, I mean,
Well, the truth, I guess that's politically incorrect, but what I'm trying to say is, look, we have control. We have the ability to change. No one is putting a glass ceiling on us. No one is saying
Right.
it has to be like this. We have control. Let's fix it.
Because,
Yeah,
of course,
yeah.
guys snipe too. It's just your experience out there in the world tells you that there's a particular problem with in the sociology of women's teams.
Right.
That
My
you
experience on
feel
teams.
even has an evolutionary basis.
And I like what
Right.
she's saying. She is really, I mean, I can see the PC people might have a knee-jerk reaction, but she's saying if you want to play in the big leagues, you've got to deal with the problems that come with it.
Right. I mean, I've
That's why-
studied sports psychology. I know how this stuff
I have
works.
yeah. I know some people would say, but you're stereotyping. Like,
I
please.
mean, I have my
That's
private
boring.
theories like this, but I can't say them in public because I'd come across like a sexist.
Well, we're in public right now.
You could help him. Anything else? Do we really, I'm going off task. Do we only have 1 minute? I thought we had a couple more minutes. Oh, thank you. I guess I want more minutes.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Lovely.
What time is it?
1 minute.
Oh, we got 2 minutes. So anyways, you're spread so thin. How are you keeping up with this demand? You're very successful. You have very interesting insights into women's psyche and also the core. How are you keeping up yourself, though?
Well, I work for myself, so I get to say how many hours I get to spend doing this, and I love it. It's my passion, and so, I get up at 6:30. I'm on the computer by 7. I fly around. I do what I need to do. I work till 9 o'clock at night, but it's not work when you love it, and I
Right.
do love this.
When you give talks, do you see sort of light bulbs going off in people's heads where they say, now I get it, I
Yes.
understand?
Absolutely, I do see light bulbs and people come up to me and say, the stuff you teach is so simple, but I never would have
They
thought
say,
of
"Damn it, you're
myself."
right, damn it.
Exactly, that's exactly what I get, yes.
Yeah, it's funny. You actually just tell people to stop. Stop and please listen.
Well, and I teach them the skills. I don't just say, oh, you have to use effective listening. Well, what does that mean? What is active listening? I actually tell them, here's how you do it. And if they go to the website, stopthedramanow.com, they can download the 7 no-fail secrets to stop the drama and the 9 secrets to great teamwork.
Yeah, and it's right there. That's the great thing. I mean, she's helping. I think it's better to also have you there, but she's putting into play into the real world very common sense techniques proven to work. Well, Doctor, we have to get going. I'm sorry.
Do you have any projects in the works?
I have tons of projects in the works. If we did that, we'd have to stay for 20 more minutes.
Maybe we'll have to have you back.
You can come
That
back
would be
anytime.
lovely. I would love that.
Thank you, Dr. Robyn. And so you're not mad at me? Did I insult you in any way yet or anything?
Not yet. You're doing really well.
Give him time.
Well, help Kurt pick up women because he needs evolutionary guidelines
Oh, no,
for
I'm
that.
sorry. No helping pick up women.
Okay.
Put lipstick on Adam.
I'm masking